afternoon, viewers. Can you smell it? I'm feeling it already. It's in the air. It's the only month of Ramadan. Again, Ramadan Kareem to all our Muslim brothers and sisters during this period. This is an important session in the Muslim calendar, and virtues like patience, giving to the poor, financial discipline, holy and righteous lifestyle resonate greatly during this period. It is estimated that over 1 billion Muslims all over the world will observe the year's 30 days fast in the month of Ramadan. With that, I say a warm welcome to you all again. This is Real Talk with Kike, the show where conversations are real. And my name remains Kike Atanda-Owo. I'm calling Trendy Tuesday, or your humble, or whatever you want to call it, on Muslim Day. But well, on the show with me today, I have Dami Lola. I call her Dami of Life, and of course, Efo. How are you guys doing?
Okay, so this is Salamu Alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. I'm the only one looking like one.
Well, anyway, we'll join up next week.
Ramadan Kareem to our viewers.
Ramadan Kareem to you. We're doing
all right
well.
then.
Fine.
So before we start off the day, it's important for us to listen to our Today in History. We'll be right back.
On this day in history, April 20, 2007, exactly 14 years ago, the opposition party in Nigeria said that troops have intercepted a truckload of already completed ballots a day before the presidential election, heightening fears the vote will be rigged. A Nigerian Navy helicopter crashed in the country's south, killing its 3 crew members. 7 policemen on election duty were ambushed and shot dead near Kuru town in central Nasarawa state.
Wow, exactly 14 years ago. Let me just say, media so rest in perfect peace.
Amen.
Because I know that some of their parents or some of their families might not have even recovered from the loss of their souls. You know, Dami, what do you have to say to this?
14 years, it's any child that was born 14 years ago should be probably in GS2 or GS3 now. So it's been quite a time. But these things are still happening. A people who do not reflect back to their history will not know how to further into their future. If we're talking about 14 years back down the line and we're still having these things concurrently happening, how then are we sure about 14 years to come? I mean, we need to just look at it and do something lasting, provide lasting solution to this menace. People just get maimed and killed for no just reason. And it's easy to say RIP, it's easy to say condolence, it's easy to say, but back to the foundational problem, are we ready 14 years on?
I think it's just an unfortunate part of our history, because I think basically they just need less deaths. And for the better part, you just find out that our own elections are largely characterized by killings. I mean, needless deaths, I call them, you know. And I think it's because we haven't been able to place a proper premium on life. That's why. So we're just hoping that we make life sacrosanct the way it should be and just do things better, like it's done in sinner climes.
Many thanks for that submission. All right, before we get into our discussion for today, let's take a message from our sponsors. We'll be right back. You know, going straight into the conversation for today, smoking and sexual relation in order to achieve great consciousness with God are all features during the Ramadan fast. But what are the other etiquettes to observe during Ramadan? Let's find out what Ramadan means to our Muslim brothers and sisters, what the Islamic faith is all about, and what is the importance of the season of Ramadan. All of this is all we will be finding out on today's edition on Real Talk with Kike. We have a seasoned Muslim scholar in the studio. He will be sharing with us on the topic of Ramadan, the etiquette, the faith, and importance of this time. But first, let's take a quick look at his profile. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. There are vital lessons to learn from the holy month of Ramadan, and we can't wait to hear it all from our guests. I'm very sure you all are so, impressed with what we've just seen when it comes to his profile, to have our Muslim brother well read. It's nice to have you in the studio, Alhaji Sulaiman Deinde Olokodana. Now, Olokodana, you have to come and explain to me, because growing up, I know that my grandmother, Alhaja, we lived close to an area called Olokodana, I think around Moshi or something like that. She has a mosque there, actually, to be precise. Right. So we visit that area regularly. But welcome on the show. It's not about the language today.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's just go straight to the conversation. We are in the month of Ramadan, like we all know, and fundamentally, what is fasting? What does it mean to the Muslim folks? And what is the essence of the divine decree, for the Muslim people during the Ramadan period?
Okay, thanks again for having me. We begin in the name of God, the Beneficent, the Merciful. And, we take our injunction from the Quran. And the injunction for fasting can be found in Quran 2 verse 183. And this is something that has been, you see over and over again. It's basically reminding everyone that fasting has been made compulsory on Muslims. But it also reminds us that it has been made compulsory because it has something that is not new. It has also been made compulsory for those before them. And in this sense, we're looking at the monotheistic religions from Judaism, Christianity, and then Islam. So basically, that's the basis. And, in every scripture, there's always a primary purpose. For me, the primary purpose is what you call God consciousness, coming into the consciousness that you are indeed being overseen, being watched by, God. And you are supposed to come into mindfulness, full awareness of His greatness, His mercy, His benevolence. Whatever you have been given is not as a result of your own power, it's just as a result of favor. And you see this manifest in a lot of things that we see, in human beings, in animals, in plants, everywhere. The signs are everywhere. So that's basically, for me, the primary source. The primary source is the Quran, and then the primary purpose is basically to come into the consciousness of God and to be mindful. And then there are other benefits, the health issues that a lot of people have talked about, and then discipline. And there are numerous amounts of things that we can learn from the month of Quran, but that is the primary purpose.
Okay, having known the primary purpose now, is fasting, is Ramadan, is it compulsory for every Muslim to observe?
Yes, it's one of the pillars. In Islam, there are 5 pillars.
5 pillars, yes.
That's the first thing, is to believe that that God is one, and then in his essence is greatness. And then you go to the prayers, which is 5 daily prayers that we pray. And then there's fasting. Fasting is also a pillar.
That is the third pillar.
Yes, third pillar. And then you have the zakat, and then the hajj. Hajj is going to the Holy Land. Okay. In all of these things, there are some exceptions and conditions. Fasting also has, but fasting is made compulsory. It's something that you cannot do without, or you are not meant to do without. However, for those who are sick or ill, or breastfeeding mothers, or people who find it difficult, then there's some alternative for them during that month. So while God doesn't make it a must for every type of Muslim or every Muslim, it's for every able-bodied Muslim, it is compulsory.
Is there any age restriction?
Yes, we usually things are usually incumbent on you when you reach maturity. Okay. But you see, the maturity now differs. Okay. Because we know children grow different ages. But we usually teach our children very early, so that when they come into it, it's not hard. Okay. So, for instance, I have a daughter is 10 this year. Okay. And she's trying her hands on fasting. So it's just to encourage, and then people go as far as giving them gifts, just to that spirit of being together and doing the same things at the same time. So while there's age restriction, it's good to teach the kids early. Not too early though. For them it's not compulsory.
Okay. I'd like to ask you to please enumerate on the other benefits, of just like you said, because of our viewers, You know, we want to know the other benefits apart from the major ones you have touched on.
Okay. So, for me, and I think for every deep-thinking Muslim, the most important thing should be the spiritual part of it,
Okay.
which is God consciousness, which is reflection. I like to use the acronym FASTING, just to underscore the point where you just tend to remember it when you think about FASTING, then you can give it, some kind of connotation and then explain, the benefits.
Okay.
Apart from all of that, then there's also the health benefit. There's also the training. In personal development, we say that it takes about a month, between 22 days to 30 days to install a habit. So, like Ramadan now, there are certain things. It's not just about the food and drink. The dynamics of the fasting are you're supposed to abstain from food, drink, and then intimacy from dawn to dusk.
Okay.
Right? And that in itself teaches you some kind of self-restraint. Even though those things are made lawful for you, you are meant to restrict yourself from those things.
Okay.
You can imagine it as something where, like a machine that you keep feeding.
Okay.
There should be a time when you rest, right?
Absolutely.
And in that rest, the organs, rejuvenate themselves and get much more healthier, and then you process food easier. A lot of people, the first 10 days of Ramadan, it's a bit tough, but
So
as you go
readjust.
along, you just get used to it.
Okay.
And this goes up until, to underscore my point that it's supposed to teach you discipline. At the end of the Ramadan, you find yourself still being in that, if you like,
Mode.
ambience. Yeah.
Okay.
So I know health fit farm people also look at fasting as an alternative to weight loss. There are also so many things that has to do with rejuvenation of the brain, kidney functions, bladder functions,
Okay.
bowel movements.
Okay.
So these are the other things. But for me, it's the most thing. So we can go through the fasting and then understand it's a lot. But this just compartmentalizes it. Like the F, for instance, is for fasting, not feasting.
Okay.
So you don't leave off your food, and then, because you've left your food for that long, then you want to eat everything that you've left.
All together.
No,
the
so,
same time.
Okay.
that's for children, because, I mean,
Yes.
the joy and, so that's that. And also understand that it's fasting. Every part of your body is supposed to be fasting as well, not just those things that we see physically. Your eyes are fasting, your ears are fasting. You don't say evil, you don't
See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil.
And in this age of technology, we restrain from, I say people should take a technology break.
Okay.
Don't restrain from just forwarding every message. Why? Because if it is a lie, you are perpetrating it. It has implications for your fasting.
Wow.
So this is the time to train ourselves into, when that thing comes, just take a moment, reflect and say, is it not going to cause harm? Can you verify it? If you can't verify it, this is also an injunction in the Quran. And if they bring news to you, verify it. And this is, very, very important in the day and age that we live in. So the A is for anger management.
Okay.
There's a lot of rancor
In the country and society.
We'll be getting there. We'll be getting to rancor. But thank you so much for, at least making us understand the importance of Ramadan, especially during this period of fast, and why it is important for every Muslims out there. So the next question is, as a Muslim cleric on the show, I know Islam wants peace for all and harmony at all levels for all religions, especially those who are clamoring for Biafra, the Igbos. And some Yorubas also claim that they want to have a Yoruba nation. So how can we rise against ethnic sentiments, especially when it comes to religious, divides, and also all different people coming, trying to have criticism when it comes to power of character for individuals?
So, I mean, this is very important, and I think that going forward, we should still look at, there's a concept called safe spaces, right? Safe spaces are places where we can engage each other, understanding upholding our commonalities, understanding our differences, and then eliminating those things that just divide us. that have no basis within those two. Looking at whether it is religious sentiments or ethnic sentiments, there's a reason why we've been created in this space called Nigeria, right?
Okay.
God is not Christians say God is not an author of confusion, right? So there's a reason why this is where we are. And if we look at it critically, is it better together or better separated? And then separating on what basis? Because God has told us that he has created us into ethnic tribes and nations so that we may understand and know each other. Allah is not somebody that creates something like a robot and he wants everybody to move in one direction. If it were, then everybody would be Caucasian, everybody would be African, everybody would be Arab. But he has chosen these divisions, and there's a reason why. If you like, the concept of fruit salad comes to mind. Individually, the fruits are, have different, but together they make a pot and they make something quite lovely. So I think let's us uphold our how do you say it? Bring up our commonalities, play down those things that divide us, but understand how we are different. We've never had it this bad, I guess. But I think those sentiments have been there for a long time, simply because maybe we've not had a sit down and have honest conversations that take us to places where tolerance is the key.
Okay.
So I think even with the Millennium Development Goals that we have, we should add, religious tolerance in it. Because really think about it. I used the analogy of the first man, which is common to all religions. So there are so many prophets, which is one of the things that we are common with. I'm looking at it from a religious prism now. Ibrahim, Isaac, Ishaq, Ismail, Moses, Musa. But Adam is Adam, right?
Yeah.
Nobody has any derivative for Adam. Why? Why? Because we come from one source. So if we come from one source, everybody dies, right? Everybody leaves, but we always go to the same place. We all believe in the day of judgment, right?
Yeah.
We all believe in one God. We all believe in resurrection. We all believe in all these prophets. Well, with the minor details depending on the scripture that you are reading. So I think openness, creation of safe spaces, tolerance, and then having honest conversations that don't lead to rancor. If you defend somebody because you feel the person should be defended, you shouldn't be criticized for defending the person simply because maybe it comes from the same tribe, right? Be objective,
Okay, I think that I would like us to just deviate a bit from this part.
Yeah.
I'd really like to know, I know that in Nigeria as a country, we have pastors vying for positions of president. But I've never really seen a sheikh or the head of a mosque who wants to go into politics. Is it because of the belief or they just want to abstain?
Well, that's not entirely the case. There are people that are vying for positions, maybe not the highest office, And I think somewhat these togas and acronyms are problematic, right? So who's a sheikh? Is it because you see there's basic knowledge and then there's deep knowledge.
Okay.
You would likely not find those who are engaged with religious matters in those highest levels of
politics,
authority. Yes, in terms of they have other things to do. Taking care of the sick, taking care of the poor, reforming the mind and the souls, calling people to whichever way that you choose to call. So there's a lot to do there. But to say that there's no sheikh or stars or religious people on the Muslim tradition that is not vying for, I think that there are lots of them. They may not just wear the toga of, I'm an imam from this mosque or whatever. I know quite a number of people that are imams, that are teachers in Arabic or Islamic institutions that are vying for whether it's House of Rep. Some of them indeed are already in the house, but they don't wear that toga as...
But they don't come to that presidency level. It's like they shy away from
Well, maybe we would see somebody. Yeah, let's give it time.
Somewhere.
Yes.
You climb the ladder.
I don't think there's anything in Islam that says you shouldn't vie for the best office.
Okay.
There are certain conditions.
Okay.
Everything comes from intention. And I think this is the key in everything we do. So if you do projects for your constituency, what was the intention? What were you thinking about? Was it for your glory? Was it to help the people really? And usually you see the fruit of that intention when that project is complete. Does it benefit the mass person? Because we are told that Allah blesses the things that have good intention. Anything you are doing, do it for the sake of God, do it for the sake of humanity. That reward will be full, and it will be complete, and it will last long.
Okay.
If you think about it, how many things in Nigeria that have been built by people have lasted 100 years?
Food
Very
for thought.
few.
Food for thought.
So we need to go back to what was the intention. And our leaders, our public officers need to look at what their intention was in whatever projects that they are setting up or in whatever good that they say they are doing for the people.
Okay.
Okay, I'm taking you back to Reformation.
Yeah.
You know, on the outside, for those who are non-Muslims, we've always had the whispers how that they say in a particular section of the country, you know, they dictate to them in the mosque, the places of worship, what should be done.
Okay.
They tell them not the correct things to do. You know, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, can you just enlighten us on what goes on in the place of worship?
One of the most misunderstood things, I think, in this day and age is religion. In the sense that sometimes, I think that's fading now, but we were not given the opportunity of going to the text yourself.
Okay.
But now things are opening up. You can carry the whole of Quran in a small digital device, whether you are listening to it and then there are explanations all over the place.
Okay.
So in those days, you can look at the style and the way people were taught, which was basically rote learning. So say this, say this, say this, say this, and then there are lessons that are given. Usually when somebody quotes a verse, it is again back to the intention of what he wants you to do.
So understand.
All you need to do what we call 5 before by 5 after.
Okay.
Look at the 5 verses before that one and 5 verses after. Chances are the person has quoted out of context. There are certain things that are sacrosanct in Islam.
Okay.
Life. When a scripture says that when you kill a person, it's like if you have killed the whole of humankind, you should give it some importance, right? So when somebody tells you, go kill this person, why? What has he done to you? It's of a different religion. Why? The Quran says that there's no compulsion in religion. Let there be no compulsion in religion. That's the verse. Right? So why do you take this and dump this? But I think with enlightenment, with things that are coming out now, with more moderation in how we look at the texts and how we interpret it. So I was talking about, just to digress, the 5 things that are important in Islam. Your life.
Okay.
You're not allowed to, suicide is frowned upon and you should avoid it at all costs. Also anything that leads to loss of life. Your intellect. Islam comes to protect your life, your intellect. So you're not allowed to abuse drugs or substances that messes with that. Your lineage. Give the person the child that belongs to the person. Lineage is very, very important. Your wealth. Islam comes to protect your wealth as well. That is why you are supposed to give zakat, to purify that wealth which God has given you. Because remember, He is the all-giving. It's the one that gives you. You are supposed to now help other people with that. Then your, I forget the last one. The last one. So these things are sacrosanct in Islam. And anybody that goes against contrary, no matter how weighty the person thinks, or no matter how sweet-talking he is, you need to check yourself. You don't just follow blindly. You are not allowed to follow blindly. The only person you are allowed to follow blindly is God. And once this goes into the consciousness, and I know that there's reformation going on in those parts.
That's why I asked you.
There are reformations, because people are beginning to understand that, look, there's, yes, you see, because there's extremism in every religion. But do you want to go to that extreme is the issue. And how were you trained in your own home? Charity, they say, begins at home. What were you taught there? Yes, more often than not, we are coming from an orphan background, so there's no mentor, there's no father figure or mother to nurture and all of that, and then you fall into these people's hands. Hopefully, with the Reformation going on, people would tend to understand that. And this dichotomy of Western education and Islamic religion is nonsense. Education is education.
So still talking about the nonsense
Yes.
and unlearning and relearning, because I know one of the most common understanding by many is that Islam attempts to oppress the women folks or deny them the freedom of expression. So I would like you to clarify for our viewers, for those who are listening to us, what's your take on that?
I don't think there's any religion that has given women their rights more than Islam. This is my assertion.
Really?
Yes.
Prove it.
Okay, so the reason why people seem to think like that is that, okay, we need to look at how the religion came to be.
Okay.
In those days in Arabia, the female child was looked upon as something not to be had. So they used to bury their girl child alive because they preferred men. And this was back then. And in some societies of our own country, that still exists. But they said, no, the right of the female child is sacrosanct. It's just like this marriage of the thing, right? People say you are allowed to give your child away. The marriage is conditioned on the person saying, yes, I want to marry this person. There is offer and acceptance. If the person doesn't accept, that marriage doesn't hold. Yeah.
For real?
For real. Now, you say that in terms of property, again, we have sections in our society where the man dies, the woman just doesn't own anything. They say, Islam says that whatever belongs to her is hers, can't share with anybody. Whatever belongs to you, the man, is shared between her and you.
Okay. Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Which other scripture
never
has
heard
a
that
whole
before.
chapter on women?
No.
None. Islam.
Okay, but if
Islam says there's a whole chapter called Surah An-Nisa
Okay.
that is just dedicated for women. You are not allowed to maltreat women. You are not allowed to disenfranchise them. You are not allowed to marry them against their will. And you're not allowed to use.
But you're allowed to say male along we on
allowed
that. We'll go a quick break and return after a word from our sponsors. All right, thanks for staying with us. Glad to know you're still with us. In case you just joined the show, we have been having quite an enlightening time with our guest, Alhaji Sulaiman. And don't forget that you can be part of the conversation by calling the studio number 080-988-77400, and it's showing on your screen right now. And of course, you can also join us on our media platform, RealTalkWithKike on Twitter page, and of course, RealTalk on Instagram. And we are streaming live on our Facebook page right now, so you can subscribe to our YouTube page, RealTalkWithKike. So, listening to you with everything that you've been enlightening us about, I'm still going to go to that because I'm a jealous Elijah. But the subject of equality, is much more debated, and the women folks equal to the male folks in Islam. So my question now is, the concept of equality have another dimension in Islam. What's your take on that? I want real talk from you right now.
What do you mean by another dimension?
Another dimension, when it comes to, women being on equal power with their male counterparts.
Sin as they sin, you are either go to hell or hellfire as well. You are rewarded the same way.
No.
Is that the equity you mean?
Of course, you know what I'm saying.
That is
I
not
need to
what
understand
she's...
where you're going.
Okay.
So what do you mean?
So,
Real talk.
Real talk.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean?
So in a place where, you see, I think that women have been given some level of silence when it comes to their voice. And just like you mentioned earlier, that in some part of the country, some women, it's like they don't celebrate the birth of women, and it's still happening till date. Also, bringing it back to technology and modernization today, in as much as there are some women who are well educated, who are doing well in their various fields, you still find it that in a place of mosque or religious community, women are yet to be given that platform where they should be, par with their male counterparts.
Well, I will differ slightly.
Okay.
In the sense that I come
Slightly.
Yeah, but I come from a different. Yes, I was raised by a single mom. So my dad died when very, very early on. So, and I have only girls. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, but the place of a woman in society is incredible. The gifts that God has given to women is incredible.
Absolutely.
There are certain things women can do that men cannot even master.
Absolutely.
Islam comes to reform. It should be looked at as some kind of a sieve. And this is a useful way to look at it. So whatever Islam doesn't permit, it throws out. There are a lot of misconceptions that has to do with misogyny. Take, for instance, knowledge. A lot of the Afars today had women that taught them. But guess what? The people that are writing the history are men.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with whether they know they are more knowledgeable or not. It's just history or the way things have happened, right? It has nothing to do with whether women are second-class citizens. They are not. I beg to differ in the sense that I think that women are even more superior in a lot of ways. You go to your issue of the four wives controversy. There are instances where that is necessary.
How?
Okay, say you have, for instance, and you know, I'm not taking this out of context. Within the context of a man gets married to a woman, marriage in itself, it should be understood that marriage is a coming together, it's a union. What is the fruit? Companionship.
Okay.
Yeah? Because children in itself, God tells us that they are tests.
So when you are talking about that, you know, companionship,
Because you have to train them well, so that
companionship by one, now
Not by
companionship
many.
by four,
Yes.
and can you be equal among the four is the question that I think that we still struggle with today.
That provision stays that you should marry one. It's not everybody that should get married to more than one wife.
True. True.
The equality they are saying is this: you have to be, you know, Yorubas will say she didi, and then she dada. She didi means that if you do this to this person,
It has to
then it
replicate to
be
the other
Exactly.
people.
to all the other people. There are issues that come up where it is necessary to have a second wife.
Issues.
Things like lack of children.
Okay.
If the man truly, really wants a child.
Okay.
Imagine somebody is a single child from his own background and they don't have any other children. And he marries this person either for the want of medical advancement or whatever.
I think
she
that
doesn't
will
get.
apply to any religion.
Yes, so should we say he should be in that marriage and not
okay.
find somebody
Person.
else who is a co-wife? There's no junior or senior wife in Islam.
Okay. Co-wife.
Yes, you are co-wives.
Then the picture we're painting is really not so.
So that is it. What we are saying is this: Islam is perfect. There's no
Okay.
need to tweak with it. Muslims are not.
Okay.
Your
Well,
interpretation
well
of
balanced.
what you want goes back to that intention.
Okay.
So, do you intend to benefit yourself? That's why you interpret a certain verse that way.
Okay.
Or it is because that is truly what it says.
Okay.
Scripture has come to guide and give us tools to live in this world and then go and meet God in a good way. Simplicity.
Okay.
So how do we take this journey? It will be different for you, it will be different for you, it will be different for you. But the hope is that when we meet, we exchange ideas and get better.
Okay. I would look at both religions, let's say Christian and Islam.
Yeah.
Now, women own churches.
Own churches.
Yes,
okay.
women own churches. Women are allowed to stand on the pulpit to speak. Though some Christians say it is not part of the doctrine, but it has never ever happened in the Islam. I've never seen an
But the
Ilekewu
woman-
that has a woman as a teacher.
Do you know the first university that was built ever was by a woman?
So
It has a mosque.
why will an
So who owns
Ilekewu
the
not have a
mosque?
female teacher?
They do have female teachers.
They do.
Oh, of course.
I think some
I've
of
always
them-
told you that there's
I think some
a
of
great
them-
Imam,
remember the one
Imam
in
Malik.
Ikeja?
Okay.
Imam Malik.
Okay.
If you look in history, you see Imam, they say Maliki.
Okay.
Imam Malik had a lady that was his teacher, who was what we call a shaker.
Okay.
And there are several shakers right now, all over the world.
But they
including the
are
Arab
not
world.
allowed to stand in front of the audience and move prayers.
They are. Lead prayers is another matter. We go
Okay.
into the realm of why is it that a lady cannot lead. Mind you, a lady can lead other ladies.
Okay.
Yes.
But
a
she
lady can
cannot
be an
lead the
imam.
men.
Yes, because of I mean, we have movements in our prayer that would be. You see, Islam also distances you from things that lead you to
Sin.
sin. So it says, oh, don't go near to fornication, for instance. It didn't say that. The word there is don't go near, because he knows that it will lead to something else.
Okay.
So you can't put a woman in front of you and then she's doing those movements. They would have issues for certain kinds of men.
Okay.
No,
I
but
think
she's
it
all
goes to
covered up.
discipline.
She's all
So that's
covered
another
up.
conversation for.
Okay.
You see, the male mind is different from the female mind.
True. True.
And
We're
God in
wired
His infinite
differently.
wisdom has made this that way. So to your point that the woman cannot lead other women or lead or own things, it's not true. Women own things severally. In fact, I was reading the other day that one of the first colleges was by a lady in Ibadan. It's about to Dean, I think, Girls Academy.
Academic. Okay.
This is far away. But I think she died 2000 and something. I forget to. But she was the first. This was in an age where girl children were not educated, and it wasn't because Islam said so, because Islam didn't say so. Islam says educate a man, educate a community, educate a woman, educate a nation.
All right. So because of time, because I know there are lots of things I would like to discuss with you, something that concerns us all. But before we get to that segment, I really need your submission on the state of the nation, which is quite a concern, and one of the most troubling challenges is security. So we have insurgencies, we have Boko Haram and the likes and all of that, many attributed to Muslims in the north. What do you have to say about all these challenges? It's important for me to ask you.
Okay.
Yes. We like to
So
know.
there are certain assumptions
Yeah.
that for everybody that comes from the north is Muslim. That's not true,
Agreed.
right? Several people that are northerners that
They are
not
Christians.
Muslims. That a certain, and this is from our vocabulary and it's from misunderstanding. In this part we say esimali, meaning something hard. Right? There's this concept that Muslims are wicked, they are not forgiving. There's no religion that forgives more. And the esimali is from religion of people from Mali. Has nothing to do with harshness or hardness. Mali. That's how it comes. But because you can reinterpret the way you want. So let's understand that. And also don't presuppose that everybody that says he does something in the name of Islam is a Muslim. Everybody has their own agenda. To say that people should not read or be educated is not sensible in Islam. Because it says seek knowledge. Knowledge is important. There are several places in the Quran that says, would you not reflect, would you not think, would you not reflect over these things? Look at this, look at that. There are several educational things that Islam has the most complex algorithm by way of hereditary in the Quran. It takes mathematicians to divide those things, and those are the things. How do you understand that thing without being educated? Then, okay, if you say you don't want education, those things that you're using to move around, are they not technology? So in itself, it's ludicrous to think and ascribe it. Criminality doesn't have any religion. That's what I say.
True.
To move forward is to, as I said, have some kind of honest conversations around these things. The situation is challenging. There are a lot of things that are not clear to us. There are a lot of things that we feel that could be better. There are things that you hear that are just, when did this start?
Barbaric, alarming.
And you seem to reflect and say, okay, maybe these things have been hiding with us that we did not really pay attention to. And maybe, God is trying to wake us up and so that we do the needful. I think we should go back to the way we were before, communities. Growing up in Lagos, still the religious tolerance in Lagos at the time I was growing up was at its highest. You had people living across one another. You had Muslims going to Christian, whatever. a child is born in a Christian home, the Muslims around him give him their own name. And this is something intermarried, there was no problem whatsoever. Until certain people started deciding that, oh, there must be division. We must go back to community. Community is what serves us, is what we live by. And it's instructive to know that in Islam also, community is valued. They say when you are praying alone, you get one reward. Immediately you are 2 or 3, the reward is doubled. So it is a communal thing. And you know, there's no better time to underscore communal living than Ramadan.
All right.
You know.
I was going to go on one line. You mentioned something when you started about abstinence.
Yes, I wanted to
Ramadan.
give you the whole. So let me just quickly do it.
FAST, because we don't have time. I just want to pick out one point. Like during Ramadan, is sexual intercourse accepted?
It's allowed for the times when you're not fasting.
Okay.
Between people that are married.
Okay. When you are not fasting. So now that you're fasting, you cannot look at madam and just...
You can look. Some people allow you to kiss as well.
Oh, okay. It's allowed to kiss.
Intimacy.
Between dawn and dusk.
Yes, if you fear that the kiss is going to lead something else, please avoid that.
So, you know, because of time, because we still have...
I don't want to, I don't know, I mean...
We still have quite a number of things. We still have quite a number of things to discuss. I think we might not be able to go on a quick break, but, you know, what's your final words, your parting words, so is to Muslims across the globe who are watching us right now, especially during this Ramadan period? This is an open floor for you. So
I wanted to go through what my train of thought before, which was FAS, because it's something that I want everybody to imbibe. Fasting, not feasting, anger management, control yourself. You know, the S is for service. It's the S for service, spirituality, sorry. This time is the time to heighten your spirituality. It's the time to reflect on why you are here, the purpose of living, the purpose of life, and to give back all that you have been given. Be communal in your thinking and be human, how do you say it? Serve humanity with your spirituality.
Okay. Right.
The T is for time utilization. Use your time well. The I is for introspection. We all have to reflect. The N is for neighborliness. So be charitable. Neighbors are important. They are something that is very, very important in this day and age, more now than ever. And then the G is for gratitude. Be grateful for what you've been given. Be grateful for what you have. Let us use this time to pray for our nation, to pray for our leaders. They are there now, and according to our constitution, they are not going to live until 2023. So between now and the time the Ramadan is on, please let us pray for our nation. Let everybody join hands in making this nation better. All right, we are thankful
for you sharing part of your lunchtime with us today. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. But before we let you go, let's discuss some of the trending stories that affect us all. You know, earlier you were talking about election, 2023 election, and it's gathering momentum, so to speak. So, you know, posters of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is all over the place, flooding everywhere in Lagos. You know, meanwhile, other statesman, Edwin Clark, you know, says that Buhari, you know, should come from, as in
Buhari's successor
should come from
the southeast,
you know, the geopolitical zone. So the debate online is that should presidency still be zoned into different groups or different political group and all of that? What's your take on it? In 1 minute, sir.
As I think that we should not ape or copy other civilizations or democracies, I think we should find our own niche.
Okay.
This issue of rotation has come as our peculiar circumstance.
Okay.
Will it work? Will it not work? I think whether we choose rotation or not, there should be a place for merit. There should be a place for competence, and there should be a place for skills and talents, and then the love of this nation.
Love
is
of
really,
country.
really important. So that's irrespective of who is. I don't know.
Who is coming next?
Answer for quickly.
Okay, I just want to say thank you for answering our call. And I also want to say that Ramadan period is the holy period. And I'm just hoping you'll be able to tell our Muslim faithfuls to follow through on the lessons of Ramadan, because no sooner is Ramadan over do they go back to their old ways.
30 days.
For some of them. You know, I have experienced that severally. The one who was malicious before Ramadan becomes holy at Ramadan.
And
after
then
Ramadan, goes back again.
Factory setting, reset.
So,
All right, many thanks for that. I
Thank
think
you
the
so
second
much.
trending story that caught our attention is the schoolgirls smoking shisha in viral video. The update on this is that the Lagos State government has suspended the girls and says plans are in place for their rehabilitation. This is what we're watching right now. It's absurd. I don't know if you saw that,
Yes, I did.
Alhaji Sulaiman.
Yes, I did.
What's your take on it quickly?
I was appalled and I was sad at the same time.
Okay.
Girl child is very, very important to me, and the fact that they were girls was particularly heartbreaking for me. So I don't know where we're going.
what do we do?
I
Where do
think
we go from
I
here?
think still on the
think
matter we
parents
should
have
go
a
back
lot.
Yes.
Parents have a lot to do.
we should go back to family planning. Don't have more children that you can cater for. If people have just one or two,
agree.
it's okay to be stern with them. But the moment you're having 5, 6, 7,
So
let
if you're
everybody
gonna
do
have
what they
5,
want to
6,
do.
7, then make sure you train.
You train them.
Why? Because they will become either
A nuisance, they
or
become
a
a pain to
blessing.
you,
and
and they
they
become
have
a nuisance to
implications for your own
society.
As
early
parents,
grades.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
true.
the
All right, so
rising up.
if you ask me for my own submission on this, I feel that it all boils down to the videos, the musical videos that we watch.
Influences.
The influences in our society. You see all these children, they want to get rich quickly, they dress naked, they want to, do exactly what they are watching. You see, this is where I point fingers to the government and also to the parents. I feel that there are no laws binding quite a number of things in the society, hence the reason why there's a repetition of things happening back to back, and we are still talking about the same thing year in, year out. You see, few years ago, I think two decades ago, I hope I'm correct on this, when Femi Kuti released the song Bang Bang Bang, and immediately it was sanctioned, and today I've never seen any of Naira Marley's songs. I've never seen any of these musical artists, their videos where, they exhibit, they show all sort of things that the children today want to emulate. And will you also see, also abroad, when I'm well traveled, and will you go to, what's it called, all these developed countries where children can actually take remotes and just flip into any channels, because there's some sort of
parental
control by it. We don't have any of this over here. Yes, I understand that DSTV today will say put some code or the other, but how many parents are actually taking care of that and making sure that? So today, if you ask me, I think it still boils down on the parents, it boils down on government, and it's exactly what they consume, and that's exactly what they're exhibiting. It's sad that we still go through all of this. I wish we can take the last trending stories, but because we do not have time, we'll have to round up. Thank you so much for being on the show today. And that's how we come to the end of another edition of Real Talk with Kike. Of course, my co-host and Honorable Alhaji Sulaiman.
Maybe he's going to be the governor soon.
Thank you so much for being here today. And
Thank
we'll come your way next week. Please keep being real.
Thank you, viewers.
Thank you.